So today, we're going to jump into some of the oldest and honestly most influential laws ever written, the commands you find in Exodus, chapters 20 through 23. Now, you probably know the Ten Commandments, but we're going to see that these laws are so much more than just a list of don'ts. They're actually a revolutionary blueprint for a whole new way of life. All right, let's start with a question that really gets right to the heart of it all. Why do we even have laws? Is it just to keep us in line when we think we might get caught? Or is there something deeper going on? You see, this very question is at the core of the laws we're exploring. Laws that are all about shaping the kind of people we are and the kind of community we really want to build. And that right there is the key to understanding all of this. For the Israelites, who had just come out of centuries of slavery, these weren't meant to be new chains, not at all. They were the architectural plans for a society built on freedom, justice, and respect. A society where they could finally live in a way that was completely different from the oppressive world they had just escaped. Okay, so if we're thinking of these laws as a blueprint, where do you start? Well, with the foundation, of course. And for this brand new community, the foundation was their relationship with God. This is what the first four commandments are all about, and man, they really set the stage for everything that comes after. You'll often hear people talk about a 4-6 split in the Ten Commandments, and you can see it laid out perfectly right here. The first four commands, they establish what we can call our vertical relationship, our connection up to God. And that relationship provides the bedrock for the next 6 commands, which are all about our horizontal relationships with each other. The idea is simple, but wow, is it profound. How you relate to God is going to fundamentally shape how you relate to everyone else. The first couple of commandments deal with loyalty and worship, and they really zero in on this idea of idolatry. Now, when we hear the word idol, we probably think of, ancient statues or something, but the principle is so much broader. An idol is anything, and I mean anything, that we look to for our ultimate security and meaning, other than God. It's the thing we build our entire lives around. And this is where this ancient idea becomes incredibly real for us today. We might not be bowing down to golden calves, but we can so easily make idols out of our careers, our bank accounts, our political parties, or even really good things, like our families. The question isn't if we worship, it's what we worship. The second commandment, about not making images of God, isn't just a rule about art. It's about protecting the very nature of who God is. There's this quote from the reformer John Calvin that just nails it. He said that trying to represent the invisible God with a physical image is to insult God's majesty. It's a powerful call to worship God as he truly is, not just as we might imagine him to be. And that brings us to the fourth commandment, which is about how we worship God through rest, the Sabbath. And what's so fascinating is that the Bible gives us 2 different reasons for this command. Exodus connects it back to creation. We rest because God rested. But later, in Deuteronomy, the reason is liberation. The Israelites are told to rest because they were once slaves who never got to rest. So the Sabbath is this beautiful gift, reminding them that their value doesn't come from their productivity, but from their identity as people created and freed by God. All right, so with the foundation of our relationship with God firmly in place, the blueprint now starts laying out the walls, the structures that shape our relationships with each other and help build a healthy community. These are commandments 5 through 10, and they show us what it looks like to live out our love for God in how we love our neighbor. And these commands, they cover the absolute essentials for a society to flourish. How do we honor our families and our elders? How do we value human life? How do we protect our commitments and tell the truth? And how do we find contentment in a world that's always screaming at us that we need more? These are the real pillars of a society where people can not only survive, but actually thrive together. Let's zoom in on one of these pillars for a second. The 6th commandment, you shall not murder. Now, on the surface, that seems pretty straightforward, right? But what does it really mean to value human life? As we're about to see, this command goes way deeper than just the physical act. See, this command isn't just some legal rule against a physical act. It's a profound statement about the inherent worth of every single human being. It forces us to look inside, at the roots of violence, the anger, the hatred, the bitterness that can poison our hearts and devalue another person long before any physical harm is ever done. And this is exactly why this ancient law feels so startlingly modern. In our age of social media, the command, you shall not murder, has a lot to say about the ways we can harm each other with our words. Things like cyberbullying, hate speech, and that kind of dehumanizing language that just destroys a person's reputation. All of these are violations of the spirit of this command. It's a powerful reminder that our words have real power to build up or to tear down, to give life, or to cause serious harm. So if the 10 Commandments are the foundation and the walls of our blueprint, then the chapters that follow, Exodus 21 through 23, sometimes called the Book of the Covenant, well, that's the interior design. This is where we see how these big principles play out in the messy nitty-gritty of daily life, and they really reveal the heart of this new society. As you read through all these specific case laws, about property and servants and what to do when something goes wrong, one powerful theme just keeps coming to the forefront. The entire legal system is designed to make sure that no one in the community gets exploited or suffers permanent loss. It's a pretty radical vision of justice that puts people way ahead of profit. In fact, within these laws, there's a special focus on a certain number of groups in society. Any guesses what it is? It's 4. And these 4 groups are at the very heart of this entire legal blueprint. So who are these 4 groups? The foreigner, the orphan, the widow, and the poor. In the ancient world, these were the people on the absolute margins of society, the ones with no social safety net, no power, and really no one to stand up for them. So God, through the law, steps in and becomes their protector, basically insisting that the health of a society is measured by how it treats its most vulnerable members. In this is where the law gets truly personal. It's not just some cold command. It is rooted in empathy. God repeatedly tells the Israelites to care for the foreigner by reminding them of their own story. You know how it feels because you were foreigners in Egypt. Justice here flows directly from memory and compassion, and that transforms a rule into a powerful act of remembrance. And you see this compassion woven right into the fabric of the laws. I mean, if you take a poor man's cloak as collateral for a loan, you have to give it back at night because that might be his only blanket. You can't charge crippling interest to the poor, trapping them in an endless cycle of debt. And in court, you cannot twist justice just because someone is poor. The message is clear and it is consistent. People are always more important than profit. So, we've looked at the foundation, the walls, and the interior of this incredible ancient blueprint. What's the big takeaway? What's the enduring heartbeat of the law that still speaks to us today? First, and this is absolutely crucial to get, the law was given to a people who were already saved. They didn't follow these rules to earn their freedom. God freed them first out of pure grace. The law, then, is their grateful response. It's how a free people learn to live in freedom. It's a model for how we can live in response to the grace we've been shown. And at its core, that's what this whole blueprint is about. It's a practical guide for how to love God and how to love your neighbor. It's a call for the community to be a living, breathing reflection of the God who saved them, a God of justice, mercy, and compassion. It really is a design for a better world. And that leaves us with a question that is just as relevant now as it was thousands of years ago. As we look at our own communities, our own nations, and our own lives, what does it truly look like to build a society where the foreigner, the orphan, the widow, and the poor, the most vulnerable among us, are not just an afterthought, but our first priority?